Hey everyone, so instead of doing my usual underrated video where we just take a look at a bunch of different picks, I wanted to do something a little bit different. There are some champions that I barely ever see, so they're all underrated, all played in less than 5% of games, but whenever they're on the enemy team, I immediately think to myself, oh bugger, this is going to be a really hard game. I'd love to see if you have any picks like this, so leave them down below, but here are 10 champions that I think are pretty underrated and I hate playing against. So this video is actually sponsored by the OPG App. It's the same website that we know already and we all use. It's no more alt tabbing. It's there directly in game. So there's two sides to it. The first side is in champion select. You can see me using it on stream right now. It's actually really useful. Normally I look up my team, but this does it for me, so I don't have to even bother. You can see who's on a win streak, who's on a loss streak, what their main champions are. You can even click through actually onto their profile as well. Then when you get into the loading screen, it's going to offer you information on your teammates, on the enemy as well, like their room pages, on who's on a loss streak, who's off-rolled, so maybe you want to camp them instead. There is a link down below to go and download this. I honestly recommend it. I use it on stream. It's really useful. It's the same site that we look up stuff on anyway. It's just much easier and directly in game. Now Auriel is kind of what sparked this video. We were hard winning a game and he basically just took our base from behind our backs. Thinking about it, this happens all the time for me when I play against Auriel. He is a real pain in the ass to play against. He's not likely ready to fight you full on. I mean, if he does, he has a cage to trap you, Sterics to be really tanky and some real burst damage, but it's kind of the playstyle though. He just demolishes towers. Like if you leave him alone just like a 30 seconds, 20 seconds, even 10 seconds, your tower is probably going to be gone once he has Trinity Force and his ultimate. It's just really hard to react to, I guess. Like by the time you probably move down there, it's already gone. And if he's going to be stronger 1v1 as well, which he probably is, it's hard to play around or even stop him. When I see a Auriel main on the enemy team, I know it's just going to be a long game where he's pushing towers and making it hard to win, even if we do win. There's just a reason that he always has a really good win rate in Season 8. Solo queue cannot deal with the good split push, and Auriel is one of the best because he does it so quickly, but so easily as well. So our next one is a very different side of things. I don't think anybody kills me quicker than a Diana. They always seem to get fed as well. I don't know what it is, but they do, and an AD is normally their target after that. There are a lot of different options that she can go. She can split push, but you can also just wait in the bush and literally one-shot you from 100% down to 0 when you try to move between lanes. Lichbane makes that even scarier. You're going to dive in faster, and she's an amazing split push with that, but I guess it's even if like I dodge the Q part, the fact that I'm probably dead anyway makes it so hard to play against. I don't see it that often, but whenever I do, I really start playing like a gray screen simulator instead when I play AD carry. Even with a more Mortius, it's not normally enough. I legit have to get a Guardian Angel. I think this one is more about the speed at which you can lay out her burst more than anything else, and how hard it is to dodge any of it. Like give me a Zed, right, and I can at least try to flash his shurikens to reduce the damage so I can kind of outplay it. With Diana, it's really hard to do that, so she's great for lower ranks. You have to punish her hard pre-6 to make her useless, but then she can roam, she can one-shot, split push, teamfire. A really decently underrated assassin pick for sure. Let's move on to Kled. I think you could call him underrated normally anyway, but definitely mid lane Kled. Versus mages, he can just dive onto them, and as long as he hits them with that tether, it's basically impossible for them to get away unless they're going to flash. He's slippery, he's very hard to gank, hard to escape as well, and has ultimate to charge in if you're low enough. So that is kind of lane phase sorted. From mid lane though, especially, he can roam to top lane or bot lane so fast. Like either. It's almost like another Twisted Fate, I guess, except he does more damage when he gets there. He's also way harder to kill when he gets there. This is why I hate playing against him. If he's smart, he's going to dive in. You finally get him to mini form like normal form, and then he runs around and suddenly he gets skull back and you've got to do it all over again. It's so hard to get close to him though, as well as an AD. Like if you're close enough to hit him, you are going to be close enough for him to skip onto you and tether you down. It doesn't take many hits to finish you off either. His damage is really high. The combination of insane roaming and snowball potential alongside that damage. Normally he always comes out of lane ahead, and he has this brutal early to mid game team fight with all the damage and the tankiness. So Mordekaiser is just a nightmare to play against in solo queue. He's hardly ever picked, but when he is, bet your ass that that person knows exactly what they're doing. The damage is bonkers, so if you mess up, you're kind of in for it. They normally have a Blitzcrank or a Thresh next to them as well as a support, so they can fight and really hold you in place. And we are talking about bot lane mod. After spanking you for 10 minutes roughly, they'll turn their attention to Dragon. They're going to nab that, wall back with a Ghost, and take the tower. Then probably dawdle up to mid lane and take that tower as well. By this point, your team will probably be raging at you, so they'll force a fight, realize realize Mord has a lot of heals. He's tanky anyway and does a lot of damage, so of course that is going to end badly. Rift Herald is next up. There goes your inhib, and that is what your average solo queue experience versus Mord is going to look like. If it doesn't go like that, you have basically won, to be fair. If Mord loses lane, it's really hard for him to come back in a game. The healing, the shielding, the damage, and the slows, though, all of that is too much to play against when he's strong, unless you can group and pick him off, but even that will be hard. It's kind of like a risky pick, really. If lane goes badly, then you're sort of boned, but if you have this plan and you execute on it properly, which is normally what happens, it works like a charm, and it makes for a very quick game. Udyr is always a pain in the ass to play against, not just a strong champion, but also mega annoying. You think you've got them, you're finally going to kill him, but they speed away, which also means you can never really kite or get away if they chase you down. The amount of burst that they have with Tiger now and Trinity Force and Warrior is nuts, so getting close is not going to be a good idea. The thing is, it's like, how do I actually kill you, right? And really, it's some crowd control from your team. So if you're ever alone, it's game over. He wins duels almost all the time. He's normally very active on the map, though, at the same time. He can gank a lot, or he can power farm, normally kills your jungler, and then with Trinity Force, he goes to the next level. Trinity is the most common item on him, right? And it has a 60% win rate when complete, apparently. That should tell you everything. He's probably the strongest champion in this entire video, but the fact that you can't kite him properly without help makes it so much harder to deal with. You can split push, you can team fight, you can chase people down, you can go nuts, you can do whatever you want, really, and build whatever you want, and it's going to make the game very difficult for the enemy team. Now, Zilean support isn't that bad in the lane phase to play against, honestly. The double bombs can mess you up, but unless you're dumb and you kind of walk forward into range, it's pretty hard for him to land them. You can punish him pretty hard and you can kill him, but once he hits level 6, it becomes almost impossible to kill him or his AD unless they really stuff it up. It isn't just a revive, but we are going to start with that. The thing more than anything that it buys is time. It's time for a counter gank, or time for his team to help him, time for others there to dish out damage instead, and wasting your time on somebody who you have to kill again. It's also the slow and the speed up, though. It can make diving onto somebody real hard, or even just trying to catch them in the first place or run away. It's pretty hard to play against that in team fights. You almost have to kite in and out, like kind of wait out the ultimate time and then go again, right? But most teams are not going to do that. He thrives in games where there are a lot of fights, especially if they're close as well, just big team fights, which is normally what we have, right? There is a reason once you get to the team fight stage of the game, his win rate jumps up to be one of the top supports in the role. It's just people struggle to play against him. Zilean himself isn't actually that bad, I guess, but it's because solo queue is a mess and because people aren't organized, so you can save your teammates who mess up and bait in the enemy team who goes too far, turning it all around. Okay, now Aurelian turns a game into a 3 or 4v2 bot lane, and it is so hard to deal with. I've never seen a champion roam so much and so early into the game and still be really strong. He has the stun, the damage, obviously, the slows, and he basically just builds health with all of his items. I don't think I've ever seen Aurelian lose his lane, unless it's on my team, of course, but when mid lane is pushing, it frees up your jungler and makes your team's life easier as well. So it isn't just him, actually. It's the control that he brings for your team, I think, and how much he can dumpster the entire map early into the game. You know what? It's actually basically like having two junglers. That is kind of how it feels when you play against an Aurelian Assault. He's definitely beatable. Like, it's not that difficult. You can hold out, you can contain him, and it's going to be fine. But you know it's going to be a bit of a fiesta and go either way. This is more one that you have to play differently, I think. You can't push as much. You have to respect the roam. And if he gets ahead, he's got a lot of health to burn through, but a lot of damage. So it's not easy to bring him down or get that close to him. Now, if you watch any of my gameplay videos or streams that you know, probably behind Janna, this guy Bard 100% tilts me almost every game. When he's on my team, it's a first time Bard and he has no idea, but when he's on the enemy team, he'll be legit 1v1ing me the entire game. So that is the first part, really. His damage is majorly underrated if used properly. The auto Q auto trade in lane phase or in team fights, I guess, proccing off electrocute and then the burst after that is so hard to deal with. As the game goes on, though, that doesn't really slow down either. If you farm your meeps up and you build some AP with those buffs that we had to his passive damage, it is a really good chunk. Your ultimate is definitely one of the best engaged tools in the game when used properly, I think, but it's a little bit of a tough time to use it right. It can pick people off. It can even give you more than enough time to catch up to them. Bard isn't really a straightforward champion. That's why he's kind of underrated and not played as much, but a good one can definitely win you the game through his lane pressure, his damage, and his roaming. It's also really cool, actually, how you can play more tank style with Knight's Vow and Locket and stuff like that if you want to, or you can go Lichbane and do it a bit more yourself. I think the part that I don't like playing against is the damage and the stun. The stun can hit off random angles behind you sometimes, items, and it's really tough to trade back against him unless your support is there with you. So Katarina is kind of pushing the underrated part of this title a little bit, but she isn't played or banned as much anymore. So first off, most Katarina picks are from Katarina mains. Same with Yasuo, for example. She's kind of complex to master, and so she attracts those types of players that will one trick. Second, they almost always find a way to get fed. No matter what you do and how much you punish them, it's like one semi-bad fight and she suddenly gets a triple kill and demolishes the game from there. It feels like a Katarina is so good with a lead. Even just a very small one is enough to start to one-shot people properly and take over the game. There are obviously ways that you can shut her down, like any crowd control and grouping up to teamfight properly, but if you miss the stun by a second, you're probably already dead. It's also how fast that she can get her damage off, I think. There is hardly any time to react, which makes outplaying it even more difficult unless you had like a Mortius or a Guardian Angel. It feels like when I load into a game versus Katarina, I kind of know that I have to get really strong because Kat will undoubtedly get fed somehow herself and will have a difficult game trying to shut her down or like drag the game out until we can handle it a bit more. So Ivern is going to finish us off at number 10, rounding out the video. His win rate is actually not that great anymore, but it's decent on players who actually main him and have a plan. Ivern is just like another support who is going to be more annoying than a threat, really. He'll try to gank a lot and normally be active around bot lane because he builds really to protect and buff the AD carry. So that means constant pressure, never a 2v2. If you pick a fight, he's probably going to be there in the bush waiting for you, and then you've got him and Daisy chasing you. If he does get a lead, he's going to make that AD do so much more damage, keeps them alive when they really should be dead, and it just makes those team fights like way more annoying to navigate and win. So I guess this is really two parts, right, with Ivern. In the lane phase, he's going to be constantly harassing you and trying to get his AD carry fed. Best case, you're down a bit of farm because of the pressure. Worst case, you die when he ganks and the AD carry gets fed. Then mid-game, he's buffing that AD carry and his whole team alongside them to keep them alive, letting them do more damage. So it's not one of those ones like the others where I think, oh bollocks, I'm going to lose this game, but it's just like, even if I win, I know he's going to be a real pain in the ass, and the game is just not going to be fun to play. So a bit of a different approach to this video, but let me know what you think. Those are my champions that I barely see in game, but I really hate to play against. Thank you for watching the video. Remember to check out the OP.GG app, but for now, I will leave you with the robots.